Okay, let's get right into it because what's happening is just wild. We've got 1,500 schools shut down, 60,000 people sitting in the dark without power across Tennessee and Mississippi, and somehow Alaska is warmer than Florida. It's a completely upside-down map. Two brutal Arctic blasts are lining up to hammer the eastern U.S. this week, with the second one threatening to drop temperatures a jaw-dropping 50 degrees in a single day. But what really has my attention? The entire pattern is about to flip on its head. And the storm that could come out of that flip might just be the biggest thing we've seen since the infamous bomb cyclone. Go ahead and drop your city and state in the comments below. I'm covering over 80 locations, and I want to make sure your town is on my radar. Looking at the satellite this morning, snow is already flying across Illinois, pushing hard into Indiana and southern Ohio. Winter weather advisories are up, painted in purple from southeast Indiana, all the way through West Virginia. It's go time. Now, nobody needs to hit the panic button. This isn't a history-making blockbuster event, but even a couple of inches of the white stuff is more than enough to turn your afternoon drive home into a complete nightmare. I just pulled up the brand new data from the European model, and you can see those darker blue shades popping up right where Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky all meet. That band of moderate snow is set to march right through Louisville, Cincinnati, and into Charleston, West Virginia. The models are locked in on this. By this evening, let's say between 6 and 8 p.m., it's mostly going to be rain across Tennessee, but you'll see that snowy mix developing along the higher terrain, especially around the Cumberland Plateau area. Now, watch this unfold. As the whole system slides east through the night, the snow starts to creep into southwestern Virginia and will eventually reach the D.C. area by about midnight. So if you're out late, be prepared for a sudden change in conditions and some seriously slick roads out of nowhere. Around 3 to 5 a.m. on Wednesday, a light coating of snow will be falling across West Virginia and Virginia, maybe even clipping parts of Maryland. It's just enough to make that morning commute a bit dicey, so you'll want to give yourself some extra time. Then, the cold air plays catch-up on Wednesday night, and a new band of snow organizes from the Triad region over towards Raleigh. This part of the forecast has been getting stronger on the models, showing higher totals than we thought yesterday. This one really snuck up on us. I know what folks in the Carolinas are probably thinking right now. Are you kidding me? We just dug out from a foot of snow, and believe me, I hear you. The good news is the totals from this round won't be huge. We're talking 1 to 3 inches from southern Indiana through West Virginia, with a coating to an inch over Maryland and New Jersey. Cincinnati and the mountains of southwestern Virginia and North Carolina could see some of the heavier amounts. Someone is bound to get more than expected. Let me know. This is where you come in. Are you guys already seeing snowflakes falling out there? Tell me in the comments, because I'm genuinely curious to see how this is lining up with what the forecast models are predicting. Someone mentioned yesterday that I shouldn't forget about Michigan, so let me just say, Michigan, I've got you covered. Snow showers are definitely headed your way by midweek. Honestly, Wednesday is shaping up to be the quietest day of the entire week, kind of like the calm before the next storm. So if you have errands to run or things you absolutely need to get done, Wednesday is your window of opportunity. I'm telling you, take advantage of it. Because when Thursday and Friday roll around, things are going to take a very serious and dramatic turn for the worse. A much stronger system comes barreling down out of Canada. It's a classic Alberta clipper with a powerful low-pressure system over Hudson Bay, and it's going to shove a bone-chilling Arctic front right through the Great Lakes and the Northeast. Friday morning, we'll see heavier snow working its way into Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan, and some areas could experience intense snow squalls. These are no joke. Your visibility can drop to practically zero in just a matter of minutes. Folks in Indianapolis, Columbus, and Cleveland all need to be on high alert Friday morning. This clipper system has the potential to pack a much bigger punch than a lot of people are expecting, so please don't underestimate it. It could get really bad really fast out there. Friday afternoon, that snow pushes into Virginia and the Carolinas, though it should be a bit lighter by that point. Then late Friday, it just kind of lingers across the Northeast. Now get this, with a foot of snow already on the ground in some places from the last storm, the high winds behind this new system could create near blizzard conditions. All that existing snow gets picked up and blown sideways, making roads completely impassable. Upstate New York and northern New England especially need to be ready. And right on the heels of that, coming in for Saturday and Sunday, the second Arctic blast arrives. Honestly, this is the one that really concerns me the most. Temperatures could absolutely plummet, dropping by as much as 50 degrees in just 24 hours across parts of the Northeast. That is not a typo. Think about that for a second. We're talking about the kind of cold that can be genuinely dangerous if you are not fully prepared for what's coming your way. It's a serious situation that requires attention. By Saturday night, parts of New England could be dealing with temperatures of 30 below zero. This is the kind of extreme cold where trees can literally crack and explode because the sap inside them freezes and expands. By Monday morning, and I just saw this on the latest model run, Pennsylvania could be 50 degrees below its average temperature. That would absolutely shatter daily records. This is the kind of cold that causes frostbite in under 10 minutes and puts an immense strain on infrastructure. Pipes will be bursting, furnaces will be running nonstop, and our power grid will be pushed to its absolute limit. This level of cold puts people in the hospital, straight up. Yeah, I know that's a lot to take in. Let me slow down and take a breath before we get to the city-by-city breakdown. Here's the simple version. Snow today in the Ohio Valley. A quiet Wednesday. A bigger clipper storm Thursday into Friday. Then, the coldest weekend of the winter so far. That's your week in a nutshell, folks. Now, let me explain why all of this is happening. Because once you see the big picture, the entire forecast just clicks into place. Picture the country split right down the middle. Out west, there's a massive dome of high pressure that's pumping warm Pacific air inland. That's why California is sitting pretty in the 60s and 70s. But that ridge of high pressure acts like a giant wall, forcing all the Arctic air to pour down over the eastern half of the country, kind of like water swirling down a drain. It's a classic seesaw pattern. One side goes up, the other side comes crashing down. And right now, the East is getting absolutely crushed by this setup. So the big question on everyone's mind is, when does this brutal pattern finally break? The answer is actually starting to come into focus, and it's a little bit unusual. The Arctic Oscillation, which is basically a measure of how much cold air stays bottled up at the North Pole, is forecast to stay negative through the 10th. That keeps us in the freezer. After that, however, it pulls back. The European model, the Euro AI, and the Canadian model all agree on this. Only the American GFS model wants to keep the cold air locked in place. When you have three major models all telling the same story and one that disagrees, that lone model is usually the odd one out. So I am leaning towards a significant warm-up for the second week of the month. We're talking about the period from roughly February 8th through the 15th. The ridge of warmth kicks east. Milder air finally floods in, giving us maybe our first real taste of spring since, well, forever, honestly. I'll be real with you, I could use a break from seeing all this blue and purple on the weather maps every single morning, you know? On the flip side of that coin, while the east finally thaws out, the west is about to get hammered. We're talking a parade of storms, heavy rain, and significant mountain snow, the whole 9 yards. The Pacific Northwest, Northern California, and the Four Corners are all in line. A lot of real beneficial precipitation is coming mid-month. And if you look at the drought monitor, you know those areas desperately need it. Southern California and Arizona even have a slight risk for heavy rain between February 10th and 12th. That's great for the drought, but it could also bring the risk of flash flooding. But it's that transition, that moment where the warm air violently crashes into the retreating cold air, that's where the real fireworks are going to go off, and the models are flagging it hard. A major storm is showing up developing in the Central Plains around the 10th to the 12th, we're seeing signals for severe weather on the southern end. From Missouri down to Tennessee, with heavy snow on the cold side from the Appalachians through the Ohio Valley. The National Weather Service already has a risk outlook posted for heavy snow from the Four Corners all the way to the Midwest. For February 10th through the 16th, this isn't just model hype anymore. It's becoming a real possibility.